T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. All three engines up and burning. 2, 1, 0, and liftoff.
Coach on Fire Radio.
I am the tiger, dancing through the fire. I am the champion, and you're gonna hear me roar.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world. And welcome to my show, You Have Worth. I'm your host, Ashley Noel. I am very pumped today because we're going to switch it up a little bit. So, and I keep saying that, I feel like, but every episode has got to be new, right? For those of you who are joining me for your first time, what I do is I am a relationship and life coach, self-worth coach as well, and working towards being a motivational speaker and empowering people to know that they are above any negative situation they may be in, and how self-love is the cure to self-hate. It really, truly is. I want everyone to believe in themselves, because if you knew where I was even a year ago, you would not imagine that this is where I am now. Because a year ago, I was so depressed. I was suicidal. I had so much anxiety. I had PTSD from abuse. I used to be in an unhealthy marriage. I've been in multiple unhealthy relationships, dozens, if you want to even say that. I am a single mom. I had days where I couldn't even get off the couch. I hated myself. I hated my life. And I didn't think that it would ever get better. But I'm here to tell you, it does. It honestly, really, truly does. On my show, I use a lot of humor and a lot of sarcasm because I think that's so important. I am here to talk about issues that don't necessarily get talked about a ton, shed some light on them, be real, raw, vulnerable with you guys, because that's how I think that people are going to be able to change, is if they feel like there's someone out there who understands them and gets it. And that it's okay to go through tough times, but you have to challenge yourself and push yourself to move forward. So today, let's get to it. This is all about self-worth and relationships. I want everyone to take a deep breath. A deep breath in your nose and out your mouth. Slowly close your eyes. Unless you're driving, don't close your eyes. Or if you're doing something really important, also don't do that. Basically, just close your eyes if you are in a relaxed spot where you have a few minutes to do so. Once you're relaxed, eyes closed, I want you to imagine a woman. She's beautiful. Long, milk chocolate, brown hair, bright blue eyes, with a light that shines from within. A smile that people are jealous of because she's never had braces. She's fit. She's a dedicated soccer player with a side of high school preppy cheerleader. This woman is confident. She was voted class clown because she can make anybody laugh. She's got lots of friends, and the men are lining up to take her on a date. It's her charisma, wit, ability to be strong yet vulnerable, and she never shies from a challenge. This is your all-American girl. Now, I assume most of you are feeling happy imagining her. Maybe some of you want to meet her. But now go ahead and clear your mind, and let's imagine a different woman. This woman is about 70 pounds overweight. Dull blue eyes, and if she smiles, it's forced. She's not active, unless you count lifting a TV remote up and down a few times a day. Let's be honest. She's a mom who suffers from depression, anxiety, and lives like a victim. Most days, getting out of bed is a long, drawn-out process. Her kids even have to force her to do it. Her marriage is falling apart. She hardly attends church anymore. And even though her friends are there for her, she's never felt more alone. In a world where you can be anything you want to be, she just doesn't want to be. Now, I assume most of your faces or your body language, the way you're reacting to visualizing this woman, you pity her. Maybe it hits home because you're like that. Or maybe you know somebody like that who is depressed and doesn't know their worth. What if I told you both descriptions were describing the same woman? How could they be on opposite sides of the spectrum in life, right? The difference is simple. One knows her worth, and the other feels so worthless, she believes she's doing the world a favor if she were to be dead. What if I told you both of those women were me? See, we live in a world where it's not okay to be who you are. As a society, we think we know what's best for others. For example, like, we all have that annoying friend who gives you parenting advice, even though she doesn't have kids. Like, okay, thanks, Janice. I'm sure your cat loved being swaddled just now. You know, we all have that one person where it's like, oh gosh, here this person comes. You know, you want to dodge that person. But they think they know. They think they have advice that is valuable to you. And maybe they do at times. But if they've never been in that situation, then it's kind of just, it's a little irritating, right? You want someone who has walked in your shoes a little bit. What most people seem to forget is that we're born confident. So confident, in fact. We'll be surrounded by other babies, you know, because moms need play dates to drink wine and feel validated that their kid's not the ugliest or the whiniest. Come on, you guys know what I'm talking about. We've all been there. And we're so confident as a baby, we'll spit up all over ourselves for everyone to see. But babies don't care. Little Nora isn't looking at Tommy like, oh no, I hope he doesn't see the vomit in my neck rolls. Instead, she's thinking, yeah, that's right. This milkshake brings all the boys to the yard. There's a huge difference in her mentality. Because, you see, shame, guilt, and fear are learned behaviors. Otherwise, if I threw up right now, while you guys are listening to this, you would think, or there'd be if I threw up right now, a handful of you would be like, oh my gosh, is she okay? A handful of you would be like, yeah, I've had one of those days. And then some of you, regardless of, you know, any boundaries, would try to reach out to me, or, you know, if you were here in person, you would try to hug me or help clean it up. And there's always that person who was like, oh my gosh, are you okay? And they just want to hug you while you cry. And in your head, you're thinking, please get off of me or I'll cry even harder. We all have those moments. Whereas, if that in fact happened, if I really truly threw up right now, people would be fearful. I'd have like this immense amount of shame, first of all, and ultimately pretty freaking gross. So think of the difference you could make if you were confident, if you never felt shame, fear, or guilt because you knew your worth. Think about the weight lifted off your shoulders if we could stop adding pressure or self-pity by comparing ourselves to others. Self-hate will destroy you. The only person you should be comparing yourself to is the person you were the day before, because we are our own worst enemies. Marianne Williamson said, "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we're powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us." And I say, it's okay. I like to personally say, it's okay to be like a glow stick. Sometimes we have to break before we can shine. Boom. I freaking love that. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Why are we so afraid of ourselves? We are the only person stopping ourselves from progressing. If you think about it, we get inside our heads. We're afraid of success. We're afraid to go out and just be, because the world is telling us it's not okay. Or if you choose to be something, the world puts a label on it. And then they complain, "Don't label me. I'm going to be my own person." But me being my own person means I'm going to be an it or a them or whatever. It's like mixed. It doesn't even make sense. So don't worry about it. Don't worry about the label that people give you. Don't worry about how you come across to others. Don't worry about what you look like. Worry about you. Worry about what makes you happy. And I promise you that will lead to you being successful. Because whatever you put out there is what you're going to attract. I've said that a few times before in other episodes. Because it's true. So I'm going to read a poem. And this is one I wrote. It's something I was asked to write for a women's conference. And it was all about owning it and letting your light shine and not letting other people and their opinions dim your light. You know, the whole goal was, you know, be a lighthouse where your light is shining so bright and so far out that you are attracting others to you. It's kind of a really cool concept. It was a really great conference. So this is the poem I wrote. We're all here because we followed God's plan to get a body, no matter black, white, or tan, to follow in His footsteps and become like Him, although the chances of becoming perfect can seem slim. Life is full of things that will bring you down, and like every trial adds a dent to your crown. Things like depression, anxiety, or suffering from a loss can make you question, why is He the boss? Our pain and suffering runs deep from within, but that's nothing compared to Him dying for sin. Yes, life is a challenge, but how else do we grow? We get back up and we prove what we know. We're sons and daughters of a glorious King. That's something we should stand up, shout, and sing. We each have a purpose beyond what we can comprehend, and whenever we need Him, our problems He'll mend. But wake up each day and remember your worth. Remember your part of all the beauty on this earth. Pay it forward and do a good deed. Just like faith, it all starts with a little seed. Think outside the box and cross that line. Whatever you do, just let your light shine. And maybe some of you are thinking, who's he? What is she talking about? For me, that person is God. See, go back and think about the very first woman I described. Confident, successful, has lots of friends. She looks healthy on the inside and outside. And then the difference between woman number 2, who was overweight and miserable and suffering a ton and feeling so alone, even though there's billions of people on this world. See, the difference between those two for me was the self-worth. And I had to put my situation in God's hands. That's what I personally needed. I needed to give in to Him and say, just please help me. Help me out here. I'm willing to do the work. I'm willing to